Hey, good morning. How y'all doing? It is Red Beard, and it is a damn fine day to talk about a book. And today we're here for a book review. We're going to talk about The Creative Act, A Way of Being by Rick Rubin. Look, I love this book. 5 star love this book. And what I found with a lot of these nonfiction self-growth, creativity type things that I've been reading is that again, they're built on 5 star principles. They're built on shit that I really, really like, but then over the course of the book, I don't want to say I lose interest, but you know, it runs out of gas maybe for me. This one did not. This one, like any great rock concert, it came with the encore at the end and just shut it down perfectly. Which again, I will tell you that like as I was getting towards the end of this book, I was starting to kind of just, I don't know, maybe you do this, I do this. I was like, all right, let's finish this book because it is the longest of these types of books I've been doing. So, I kind of started doing the nonfiction stuff, and I only really do it during certain parts of the day, like my morning walk and whatnot. And so I was kind of like, hey, I'm ready to move on to the next book. But then, like, the way the author, the way Rick, whatever, brought it all together at the end, it just firmly grabbed that 5 stars. Like, it was, I mean, I was probably going to be like, it's a 4 star book. And 5 stars. I love this book. So, since this book in the format that it's in doesn't have a synopsis, I will give you a little bit of that from Goodreads. It says from the legendary music producer, a master at helping people connect with the well springs of their creativity, comes a beautifully crafted book many years in the making that offers that same deep wisdom to us all. Rick Rubin said that he set out to write a book about what to do to make a great work of art. Instead, it revealed itself as a book on how to be. Uh, you know, and the gist is that we're we're built for this. Like we're supposed to make art. We're supposed to have our. So I call it my song catcher. I didn't make that up. I mean, because that's I write poetry and songs, whatnot. I have off and on throughout the course of my life. And one thing that I'm looking at the third act of my life, as far as having an empty nest, basically in the next couple of years, is that I do a lot of this. I do a lot of reading, but I also want to really delve back into songwriting and creating music and not to look. I don't want to go play bars. I don't. I just want to write songs, and I don't want to chase publication. Like I don't. I don't want to spend you know 80% of my actual creative time on chasing. I just want to write them. I just want to write them and sing them and throw them on YouTube. I mean, so briefly about me, because I got to get back to the synopsis, but briefly, like, right now I write songs and I put them on YouTube. I just sing them, and I usually use the 3 minute format that I have in a YouTube short, and I just throw them out there. And so like cut out a lot of the musicianship and all that shit. It's just a guitar and me, and that's what I do. And I find a lot of enjoyment in that. I find a lot of one aspect of this book is that we all have this desire that it's built into us. Like this isn't narcissism. This isn't like whatever. But we all have this desire to, proverbial. Good lord, to proverbially, that was a tough one. Figuratively, to make that graffiti. I was here, right? And so with Well Red Beard, I do that. I mean, just talking about books, but also with music, I do that. And at the end of the day, I don't give a shit if anybody likes it. But I was here. I lived, and no matter how shitty my creations might be, I created something. And so he says like that's intrinsically built into us, and to love that and to foster that and to, you know, above all else, you know, make art. So what I was trying to say is like I I've got this thing called a song catcher, and I got it from a movie, you know, whatever. Back, it was like a 1990s movie, I think. Uh, but the point is like ideas pop up all the time. I mean, ideas pop into my head all the time, and if my song catcher's turned on, then I will grab that idea and I will keep that idea, and eventually it will maybe become a song, maybe it won't. But when it's not turned on, either the ideas don't come because I'm not being observant, I'm not uh I have found this, and I'm getting way off track, but this is what this book does. That, you know, I used to get a lot of ideas for songs in the shower. Well, now I play an audiobook in the shower, so I'm not getting any. But anyway, the point is that I would throw away a lot of ideas because I wouldn't take the time to save them, and now it's kind of turned back on. But so back to the synopsis. Many famed music producers are known for a particular sound that has its day. Rick Rubin is known for something else, creating a space where artists of all different genres and traditions can home in on who they really are and what they really offer. He has made a practice of helping people transcend their self imposed expectations in order to reconnect with the state of innocence from which the surprising becomes inevitable. Over the years, as he has thought deeply about where creativity comes from and where it doesn't, he has learned that being an artist isn't about your specific output, it's about your relationship to the world. Creativity has a place in everyone's life, and everyone can change that. Everyone can make that place larger. In fact, there are a few more important responsibilities. The creative act is a beautiful and generous course of study that illuminates the path of the artist as a road we all can follow. It distills the wisdom gleaned from a lifetime's work into a luminous reading experience that puts the power to create moments and lifetimes of exhilaration and transcendence within closer reach for all of us. So I'm going to admit that I don't know much about Rick Rubin. I have followed like some of his work. Like I know albums he was involved in. I know that he is the one that got Johnny Cash to record "Hurt." I know that I mean the one that stands. I mean I know he worked with Jay-Z. He's worked with all these people. One that stands out to me is the System of a Down. Is that right? I think it's Toxicity, or no, it's Chop Suey. Like anyway, there's a part in that song, and I don't want to go into the song or whatever, but that you know he was heavily involved in producing that album, and he was heavily involved in like this one part of the song that like was basically like an empty gap that is now was filled in a way that kind of makes it the focal point of the song. So, but I guess loosely what I'm trying to say is like, and this is very, very loose, but I think the guy is just a great listener and philosopher and helps people that are maybe musically anyway, or artistically anyway, maybe more talented than him in the actual art, but he helps them find it, right? Like he helps them find their way through whatever shit they've got going on, whatever insecurities or past traumas or whatever. He helps them find their art and make their art better. So like I don't even know if the guy plays an instrument. Like I kind of think he doesn't. I kind of think just listening and giving an opinion and guiding things is kind of like his talent. Like he said, sometimes my um part of the album is to do nothing. He had a friend that played some music for him, and he said it literally was perfect. He said, so my only contribution was to say, let's not do like what I'm hearing right now in my ears. It is perfect. Let's not do all the mixing, all the levels and whatnot that we would do at the end because we're going to muddle something that's already the way it's supposed to be. So again, that's my understanding of who Rick Rubin is. But so the book is great. If you're a creative, I mean, if you dabble in anything, we don't dabble. I mean, we don't dabble. I mean, this is our meaning. This is our purpose. This is our I was here. So don't be ashamed of dabbling. Don't be ashamed of, you know, being a amateur, right? I'm an amateur songwriter. Don't be ashamed of that, but make the art. And again, it's a 400-page book. I might have already said this. It reads super fast. Part of that is the way it's laid out. Like you will get like a full chapter, like text on, and then like you'll flip in between, and there's like a really really short one, and then it goes back into like a full chapter, and so this really does talks about inception, talks about having the art catcher turned on, and it talks about the stages of making the thing, the stages of dealing with um the the evil voices in your head that say it doesn't matter, you're wasting your time, it's all that, and then takes you through like editing and pushing the product out, and there's a fine line between making the best version of something you can and not moving on to the next thing, right? Like so, and ultimately those are good voices in your head that will tell you it's done, it needs work, or this needs work. I mean, um, uh, through all this philosophy, through all this self growth, through all this creativity stuff, like I'm really um giving more weight to my gut reactions, because your gut, for me anyway, like I have found, like I'll have a gut reaction, this needs more work, or I mean, like I've said, reading a book, I finish a book and boom, it's rated. I used to hate doing that. I wanted to think about it like for weeks and then decide what. But my gut reaction is generally right. So anyway, I'm way off track with this, but again, this book will send you down all kinds of rabbit holes like that. But again, I was here. The little, I mean, some of the lines, and I'm just gonna read one at random because I marked so much shit. Let's just see what this one says. It says, most of what we see in the world holds the potential to inspire astonishment if looked at from a less jaded perspective. Train yourself to see the awe behind the obvious. Look at the world from this vantage point as often as possible. Submerge yourself. I mean, that's not, necessarily like one of the best ones, but I marked it. So let's see how this one ends. Interference may also come from the voices within, the ones in your head that murmur you're not talented enough, your idea isn't good enough, art isn't a worthwhile investment of your time. The result won't be well received. You're a failure if the creation isn't successful. It's helpful to turn those voices down so you can hear the chimes of the cosmic clock ring, reminding you it's time, your time to participate, your time to write. I was here. Another thing I liked is I think a lot of us that dabble, we don't. A lot of us that dabble in art, like in order to take that next step, like it has to be it has to win bring home the bacon, right? Like it's got to be the breadwinner. I mean, success is defined by paying your bills with it. And he said, you know, um, to be honest, like really don't quit your day job, because if you are relying on your art to pay your bills, then you're willing to put out whatever's selling, right? Like your art form is then less pure because you're not putting out the purest form of your art. You're putting out whatever, Nashville or Hollywood or New York Times bestseller list, or whatever. You're putting out what you think is selling rather than the purest form. I don't know. I love the book. And again, I got deep into it and was kind of, you know, it maybe had lost just a hair, just a slight bit of its luster, and then it was all brought home at the end. Yeah, really, really like this. This is The Creative Act, A Way of Being by Rick Rubin. My wife bought this for my daughter on her high school graduation because she was going away to art school, and these kids, my man, struggle to get them to read. She has not read it. This is inscribed to my daughter from my wife. It is sat in her room, and again, I saw it on the table on YouTube of Ryan Holiday's shop, and I was like, I've always wanted to read that. I'm going to read that. So I read it, loved it. I'm better for it. I'm going to do my best to keep dabbling. We don't dab, you know what I mean. So yeah, this is The Creative Act, A Way of Being by Rick Rubin. Appreciate you being here. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're enjoying all your books, all of them, as much as I am. If not, you're reading the wrong damn books.